We've got even more brand new Warhammer 40,000 lore, and it's all to do with the Pariah Nexus. Vashtorr is there. The Silent King has now put his gaze upon Vashtorr. We're going to jump in, we're going to break it all down and look at this new lore. This is all taken from the latest White Dwarf magazine, edition 501. Of course, this video is going to contain spoilers, so if you haven't read it and you don't want to be spoiled, then please leave the video right now. This is your first and only warning. Now, just a brief summary for those people who are out of the loop on what's going on in the Pariah Nexus. We've got some absolute massive things happening. Some huge characters from the lore are all at the Pariah Nexus right now. We've got Belisarius Call. He's there with the Admech. There's Space Marine chapters there. There's Imperial Guard regiments there. Gilliman is heading to the Pariah Nexus. You know, one of my theories is that the Lion will eventually end up there to seek revenge because Vashtorr turned up at the Pariah Nexus as well, because the Silent King is there, Imhotep is there, and the Silent King and Imhotep are fighting each other. There's a Necron civil war going on at the moment. There's absolute fire and ruin all over the Pariah Nexus. And from yesterday's video, Magnus the Red, the demonic Primarch's getting involved now. He's sending his forces there because Vashtorr again has turned up and he doesn't want him to ascend to be the well, one of the next chaos gods. He's sending a bunch of battle automata robots to fight Vashtorr, which is probably not going to go too good because Vashtorr controls robots, but there's so much stuff happening. And now we have the Silent King turning his gaze towards Vashtorr and his forces because he doesn't want him to ascend, and it looks like we're going to get the showdown between them. Now, what we have with the new lore in this White Dwarf magazine is the followers of Vashtorr think that if Vashtorr wins against the Necrons, he can break the Necrons down and learn the location of the lock. The lock is this device, weapon, what we've been theorizing now for a while, where Vashtorr gets hold of this, he unlocks it, he gives it to Abaddon. This could turn the war in Abaddon's favor, and then Vashtorr ascends to become the next chaos god. I'm going to put the text in the background now and read it because this is really, really interesting information. So it states, Wormwood now hangs amid the Scavering system, the luminescent sphere of corruption and disorder, from which pour the master of the Soulforge Maladin Frowls. Vashtorr's ultimate goal remains a mystery, even to his most trusted allies. The sheer preponderance of the arcane eldritch technologies being unleashed within the Pariah Nexus has drawn the Archonfane's attention, for even the vault-like hulls of the Adeptus Mechanicus explorator barges and the hands of the ingenious Necron Cryptex, he may find all manner of mechanical terrors to twist and corrupt to his cause. Some of his mortal followers even speculate that by unmaking the Necron nodal matrix, the Archonfane may reveal clues as to the location of the fated lock for which Wormwood is the key. So not only can Vashtorr now potentially get his hands on some Mechanicus and Necron technology to twist and make in his own image and monstrous ways, he can also potentially learn the location of the lock if he overcomes the Necron forces. Now, I'm going to do a full video dedicated to this probably next week, but there is rumors out there at the moment that Vashtorr is going to be getting some models to go along with him. I'm not saying it's going to be a brand new model range or a brand new army like that, but I have heard from whispers in the warp potentially Vashtorr getting his own forces. These are supposed to be different from the Dark Mechanicum. They're supposed to be his own type of monsters, and you can use them, of course, as allies and stuff on the battlefield with other chaos forces. And the next bit of text, which I'm going to put in the background in a second, I personally think is setting up now the showdown between Vashtorr and the Silent King. I really hope this does happen because the Silent King hasn't really took part in a lot of the narrative going forward ever since he's returned to the tabletop. He's kind of been on the sidelines, just being silent, really, like what his name says. So the text that I'm going to put in the background right now and read, it says, Thus far, Vashtorr appears content to allow his followers to strike at the Necrons and Imperial forces alike, further expanding his sphere of influence. In the heart of the Nephilim anomaly, the Silent King observes the Wormwood's obscene mass through the eyes of his underlings and views the Archanfane's presence as the greatest threat to the Nephilim anomaly's expansion. Thus, he has already tasked his Techno-Mandrite allies with devising a method of unmaking his potent threat to his ascendancy. So my take from that passage of text is that the Silent King knows that Vashtorr wants to ascend to become one of the Chaos Gods. He is now trying to actively stop that. As it's stated in the text, he sees Vashtorr as the main threat, not the Imperium, not Imitek the Stormlord and the Necron so-called civil war that's going on at the moment. It is Vashtorr who is the main threat. So now you have Magnus the Red that's trying to stop Vashtorr. You now have the Silent King trying to stop Vashtorr. I think the Imperium are quite clueless at this moment in time. Maybe they'll learn about Vashtorr and, you know, what his true plans is becoming one of the Chaos Gods, and they'll try and stop it as well. Belisarius Cawl, as I mentioned, is there with the Admech. Guilliman is sure to arrive sometime soon. He's going to bring vast reinforcements in terms of Sisters of Silence, you know, Sisters of Battle, and the Adeptus Astartes, you know, countless chapters, countless Imperial Guard regiments. The Adeptus Custodes are going to be there. Probably the Grey Knights are going to be there. As I theorize, and I said at the start of the video, I personally think the Lion is going to show up because Vashtorr turned up on the Rock and devastated the Rock and killed a bunch of the Lion's sons. So maybe the Lion and the Dark Angels want some vengeance on Vashtorr. So potentially it's all being set up now to get into the end game of this Pariah Nexus storyline, where we have the big characters all meeting up, wrapping up the story and having one major big battle. I do think it's going to be interesting how they end this. Are they going to have Vashtorr ascend? Again, Magnus the Red getting involved now, so you actually have a Demon Primarch getting involved. As I mentioned, he's sending battle automators there. That's not going to work out for him, because Vashtorr's probably going to click his fingers and rip them apart and make his own monsters out of them. Maybe Guilliman and the Silent King and the Lion can all team up to take on Vashtorr, and that is the only way to finally overthrow him. Belisarius Cawl, of course, in there as well. And then the blowback from this, the effect from this, could see a ripple where it brings back another Demon Primarch. Of course, on the horizon, we do have Fulgrim's return to the narrative. We don't know at this point how that is going to happen. I personally think whatever happens in this narrative is going to then basically ripple in the warp, ripple through the galaxy itself, and bring Fulgrim back in some type of way. Technically, Fulgrim is back in real space. We know that because Abaddon was upset with him, because while everyone was fighting, Fulgrim was just pleasuring himself on a planet doing Fulgrim things. So we know he's back in real space, but I think the fallout from this is going to push him more into the center spotlight, and that will be his big reveal then in the future narrative of Warhammer 40,000. Of course, we still have the big 10th edition narrative, which is the 4th Tyrannic War. I spoke about this last night on stream. The thing what we have when it comes to 40k editions, it seems like the current narrative is always one edition behind. So 9th edition, it was all about the Pariah Nexus. We never got to the end of that. 10th edition started. It's a brand new narrative with the 4th Tyrannic War, but we're finishing the Pariah Nexus, it seems, in this edition. Then maybe 11th edition, we'll get the end of the 4th Tyrannic War. That's, you know, who knows at this point, but it seems that they are behind and they're trying to get it out and trying to finish it. Hopefully they finish it soon, because I do want to purge some Tyranids. Anyway, Chaprunios, thank you for coming, thank you for watching. As always, if you got any thoughts, feedback, anything like that, any theories for yourself, I would love to see them in the comments down below. Do you think that Vashtorr and the Silent King are going to fight each other? I personally think that that is going to be the ultimate showdown. Silent King, Mr. Beatbop robot himself, versus Mr. Beatbop demonic robot himself, right? Both getting on the battlefield and just ripping each other apart. I think the Silent King is going to win. I don't see Vashtorr ascending to be the 5th Chaos God. I just don't don't think GW got the minerals to make another Chaos God, but who knows? Maybe he will ascend, and then we get the Chaos God of Machines, and maybe that's where Perturabo can give, his loser life to and stuff like that. Who knows at this point? There's a lot going on. Hopefully, we get to the end very, very soon. See you now. Have a great day. Wherever you're around the world, it's morning, afternoon, evening, and stuff like that. Hopefully, you're having a top time. See you in a bit, and bye-bye.